Public activist Yermek Narımbayev had to wait for 2 weeks for the beginning of his trial after being charged with contempt of court and resisting police actions. The hearing was attended by about 30 supporters of the oppositionist.
Public activist Yermek Narımbayev was brought to court on June 21st after 2 weeks of trials postponements. During the first hearing, it was obvious that there was no evidence and proof of Narımbayev's guilt. The medical examination found no injuries on Lieutenant Sidikov's body, who figures as a main victim in the case. Narımbayev can face up to 4 years in prison for attacking a law enforcement officer and contempt of court.
So any of the things that Narımbayev is charged with, can they be seen on the CD? Is there any evidence or records of him swearing in the courtroom or falling? No, I didn't see this on the CD.
The victims were interrogated for 3.5 hours. Prosecutor Ganis Eysengiev tried his best to guide them in what to say, but the prosecution's versions fell apart eventually, as the testimonies did not match. The longer it lasted, the more the witnesses kept saying they did not remember or saw anything.
You wrote in your report that I punched you. What for? You didn't seriously think that I would try to escape. You wrote that I did this to avoid the punishment. Did you write this or not? Why would I do this? How should I know? You know better.
In total, the first hearing lasted for almost 8 hours and was spent on interrogating witnesses. The trial will continue on June 22 with more questioning of witnesses and debates.
Abro Youth Movement demands the resignation of Zhansiy Tumenbayev, the Kazakh education minister. As part of their campaign, the students proposed the official to refresh his memory by taking sclerosis pills and medicaments. To sweeten the pills, the movement members made a special salad for the minister. Find out more from the next report.
The Zhansiy salad is a fresh mix of tomatoes, carrots and garlic, which according to activists is good for those with memory loss. The organizers of this campaign suspect that the Kazakh education minister suffers from this disease after they read a report on the investigation of corruption facts in the Atyrau State University. Back in April, a special commission confirmed said facts, however the minister keeps denying them. Therefore, the Abro movement activists believe some memory loss at play here and are quite serious in their intentions.
Tumenbayev must definitely resign from his post due to numerous failures and problems with the Atyrau State University and KIMAP in Almaty. Not only should he leave his post, he must change his name, which can't anymore bear a disgrace of being such a bad minister.
Zhansiy Tumenbayev, however, took this unusual students' campaign in a gastronomic style quite adequately.
This organization constantly interferes with the education process. I believe it is unethical, especially when we all know that the movement which spreads the information is not registered and has only a few members.
One way or the other, the salad should reach the minister's office, as it will be delivered to the department shortly. Students intend to appeal to higher officials, including the Prime Minister and even President, should the minister ignore their demands.
Kazakh authorities do not accept refuge applications from citizens of the neighboring countries to avoid spoiling good relations with them. This was stated by the Human Rights Bureau during the marking of the World Refugee Day. Lawyers believe it is virtually impossible to obtain a status of a refugee for a citizen of the CIS in Kazakhstan. On June 20th, the global community marked the World Refugee Day, and the topic was brought up in Almaty as well. While there are officially 15 million people in need of humanitarian aid, there are only 866 of them registered in Kazakhstan. It was anticipated that after the World War II the number of refugees worldwide would decrease, but 60 years later the organization still exists, displaying the urgency of the refugees' issues. According to attorney Denis Zhivaga, Kazakhstan prioritizes the refugees coming from such countries as Somalia and Ethiopia because Astana has no mutual obligations with these states, while for citizens of the neighboring ex-Soviet countries it is almost impossible to obtain a needed status here. When we talk to officials, they say that they cannot give a refugee status to Kyrgyz, Uzbeks or Russians due to politics, as well as all the members of the STO and CSTO, etc. As a recent example of this, 2 weeks ago numerous Uzbek refugees were detained in Almaty. 29 of them are already called international criminals by the prosecutor's office. It is important that they are not extradited to their homeland, as it happened with Umida Azimova's family member in 2005. Now her husband could be sent back home too. Our parents visit our relative in jail, but everyone knows that in Uzbek jails they still use torches. Experts say that Kazakhstan has toughened its already quite severe migration legislation. After the full launch of the customs union, the universal entrance regime will be introduced, meaning that refugees from the CIS will have a better chance of extradition than obtaining a converted status.
Astana is not intended to give away its resorts on the Issyk Lake to Kyrgyzstan. This information was stated on Monday, June 21st by the official representative of the Kazakh Foreign Affairs Ministry, Askar Abdrakhmanov.
Kazakh Minister of Foreign Affairs officially commented on the statement made earlier by Azimbek Beknazarov, the Vice Premier of the Kyrgyzstan's interim government. The Kyrgyz official said that his administration plans to adopt a decree which will see Kazakhstan's resorts on the shores of Issyk Lake nationalized. Back in January, the Kyrgyz parliament ratified the law on leasing the land lots with the majority vote. Kazakhstan signed an agreement to lease about 60 hectares of land on the shores of Issyk for 49 years term. The resorts, which were transferred to Kazakhstan fully 2 years ago, are located within this territory. Our position is based on the fact that these relations are regulated by the bilateral treaty between Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan ratified by the Kyrgyz parliament, as well as the statement of the interim government that the new administration will stick to all international obligations undertaken by the previous authorities.
Almaty authorities began the implementation of a project to avoid the possible devastating mud flow, which could be caused due to the increasing level of water in the lake located in the mountains above the city in the Manshuk-Mametova glacier.
There should be no fears of a deadly mud flow. The moraine lake number 6 at the foothills of the Manshuk-Mametova glacier is being reinforced to prevent the potential break and subsequent mud flows. A special team of 10 experts will set up a base near the glacier next week. This will be followed by the expansion of the channel to drain the water out of the lake.
We have already cleared the path to the Mezilki Dam. Now we are preparing equipment, pumps and tents for the coming team.
These active measures are taken after the last week when the emergency minister Vladimir Boshko could not receive any precise evaluation of the possible risk. The official was outraged, especially since the meeting was attended by the representatives of the Kazakh Mudflow Security Office, weather forecast agents and other related bodies and scientists.
The key issue is not to let mudflows happen in the foothills of Almaty, although there is a very low risk for that.
After Boshko's visit, a special commission was set up to develop an action plan and solutions. Professor Boris Stepanov is one of the commission's members who argued with the authorities about the risks of the reservoir number 6 for quite a long time. He was among the first to notice the increase of water volume in this and other moraine lakes of the area, all due to the global warming effects.
The strategy must be changed not only for the Almaty area but for all rivers of the Zail Alatau, because all of the old dams were constructed considering outdated strategies which are no longer relevant in the new climatic realities.
According to the plan, the process of draining the lake number 6 will last until the end of summer. Currently, the water level is still rising despite the cold weather in the mountains and solid state of glaciers. So far, only 30 specialists are involved in the current works, including the staff of the Almaty Emergencies Department and scientists.
These were all the latest updates from Kazakhstan. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.